to all. Hope so you all are well. If you are new to the channel, so kindly subscribe the channel and also press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications at proper time. And also you have to like and share the videos so that the content and the quality based video can reach to each and every student of the biology who cannot afford the coaching by giving big prices for that coachings. Alright, so today we are starting with the epidermal tissue system, but before that I want to tell you that there was a scientist whose name was Sach, Sach, who divided the tissue systems into three categories: epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system, and vascular tissue system. Again I am repeating, there was a scientist whose name was Sach who divided the tissue systems into three categories: epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system, and vascular tissue system. So out of this three tissue system, I am starting with the epidermal tissue system. And this epidermal tissue system comprises of epidermis, fine, and stomata, cuticle. It comprises of epidermis, second is stomata and cuticle, and also epidermal appendages like hairs, root hairs, and trichomes. Are you getting what we have to discuss? Epidermal tissue system comprises of epidermis. It also consists of stomata and cuticle, and epidermal appendages such as root hairs and trichomes. Means we are going to study not only the epidermis but also the parts associated with the epidermis. Okay, so the very first part of the epidermal tissue system is the epidermis. Now, epidermis forms outermost layer of primary plant body, because when secondary growth occur, then we can't say that the epidermis is the outermost one. Alright, there will be many changes. So just now I am talking about the primary plant body. So epidermis forms the outermost layer of primary plant body. Generally it is single layered. Generally it is single layered, but there are exceptions because plant anatomy is full of exceptions. So multi-layered epidermis is found in Nerium and ficus. You know what is ficus? Ficus is the banyan tree, and Nerium in India is called as the kaner. Alright, so exceptions are multi-layered epidermis is found in Nerium and ficus. Otherwise, generally it has been seen that the epidermis is single layered, like this. Epidermis is single layered. Now, cells of epidermis are compactly packed with little or no intercellular spaces. Are you getting? You can see that cells are closely packed. So cells of epidermis are compactly packed with little or no intercellular spaces. Now, cells are having a large vacuole cells are having a large vacuole due to which the nucleus and cytoplasm are found at periphery. You know very well, whenever the vacuole is big in size, then the nucleus and the cytoplasm are found at periphery. As the cells, and always remember, cells of epidermis are parenchymatous. Cells of epidermis are parenchymatous, and hence they are living. Are you getting? Cells of epidermis are parenchymatous and hence they are living. Alright. Now, one more thing you must know, and that is the epidermis. The epidermis is having certain structures also associated with it. Say for, I will be talking about the Muliform cells here. I will be talking about the Muliform cells. I think so you might have heard about the Muliform cells. What are Muliform cells? So in upper epidermis of monocot leaves, in upper epidermis, very very important, it was asked in the examinations. In upper epidermis, only in upper epidermis of monocot leaves, some cells are large in size. In upper epidermis of monocot leaves, some cells are large in size, balloon-like and colorless. These cells are called, very very important, Muliform cells. These cells are called Muliform cells or motor cells. Right? Now, what is the role of these Muliform cells in the upper epidermis of the monocot leaves? So, at time of insufficient water, these cells lose water. And become flaccid, means they get shrink, due to which the leaf curls, or I can say leaf rolls, and because of which less water loss occur due to transpiration. Why? Because when the leaf will curl, then the exposed part of the leaf will be reduced. So what will happen? There will be less water loss due to transpiration. So what I want to say, in upper epidermis of the monocot leaves, some cells are large in size, balloon-like and colorless. These cells are called as Muliform cells or motor cells. At time of, what is their role? At time of insufficient water, these cells lose water and become flaccid, due to which the leaf curls and because of which less water loss occurs due to transpiration. Say for these are the epidermis cells. So some cells become big in size like this type. And these cells which become big in size of the upper epidermis are called as Muliform cells. Muliform cells. Are you getting? Now, one more feature of the epidermis that just now you have heard about, that the epidermis in the ficus, in the banyan, is multilayered. So in multilayered epidermis of ficus, certain bunch of grape-like structure found called as, what we call it as cystolith. In multilayered epidermis of ficus, certain bunch of grape-like structure found called as cystolith, made of calcium carbonate. The cells in which lithocyte, the cells in which cystolith is found is called lithocyte. Are you getting? Say for, I am drawing here a multilayered epidermis of banyan tree. Now imagine it. This is the multilayered epidermis of the ficus. In this multilayered epidermis, a bunch of grape-like structure is found, like this type, which is made up of calcium carbonate crystals. And this bunch of grape-like structure is called as cystolith. And the cell in which cystolith is found, the cell in which cystolith is found is called as lithocyte. So these two structures, one was known as the Muliform cells and another one known as the cystolith. Okay, these are also very important because these were asked in the NEET examination. So you must be having the information regarding the cystolith and the Muliform cells also. Okay, now remember one thing, that in the case of the roots, we never use the term epidermis. Instead we use the term rhizodermis or piliferous layer. Alright, remember this thing. I am putting a note here that in roots, epidermis is called as piliferous layer, or in roots epidermis is called piliferous layer or rhizodermis. Alright, now we will be talking about the structures associated with epidermis. And the structure is cuticle. First structure is cuticle. Now before starting the cuticle, you must know that cuticle is absent in hydrophytes. Hydrophytes means plant which are residing in water. Cuticle is absent in hydrophytes. And roots. Roots are devoid of cuticle. The root epidermis will not be having the cuticle. Cuticle is entirely absent in hydrophytes as well as the roots. Now cuticle is found above epidermis. It is made up of an waxy substance. Called cutin. Right? Cuticle is found above epidermis. It is made up of a waxy substance called as cutin, which is impermeable to water. That is, cuticle reduces transpiration. You know now what is transpiration? Loss of water in the form of water vapor. Now roots are underground. Roots are underground and stomatas are not there. So they don't have to reduce the transpiration. In the case of the roots, there is no use of reducing the transpiration because stomatas are absent and there will be no transpiration, hence there is no cuticle. Hydrophytes are already in the water. They don't have to save water. Alright, so cuticle is absent in them. Cuticle is found above epidermis, and remember this thing, thick cuticle is an adaptation. Thick cuticle is an adaptation in xerophytic plants. Thick cuticle is an adaptation in xerophytic plants. Why? Because in xerophytic plants there is a scarcity of the water. So if the plants will be having a thick cuticle over the epidermis, then there will be less loss occurring because of the transpiration. So thick cuticle is an adaptation in xerophytic plants. Alright. Now next one. Now coming to the next one, and that is known as the stomata. Stomata, epidermis is interrupted epidermis is interrupted by stomatas. Epidermis is interrupted by stomatas. Now stomatas are found on leaf epidermis. Stomatas are found on leaf epidermis. What is the role of the stomatas? That the stomatas are meant for, remember this thing, that stomata are meant for gaseous exchange, that is exchange of CO2 and O2, and they are also meant for transpiration. Clear? So epidermis is interrupted by stomatas. Stomatas are found on the leaf epidermis. Stomata are meant for gaseous exchange and for the transpiration. Say for, if I draw the epidermis, say for this is the epidermis, then it is interrupted by various stomatas like this type. It is interrupted by the stomatas. Say for, if this is the epidermis, then these are the stomatas. Okay. Now let's talk something about the stomatas. What is the structure involved? Now, a stomatal apparatus is made of stomatal apparatus is made of a stoma. Stoma is the pore. Stoma plus guard cells. Stoma plus guard cells plus subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells are special epidermal cells. So a stomatal apparatus is made of stoma plus the guard cells plus the subsidiary cells. Say for, I am drawing the diagram to show you that what is the structure of an stomatal apparatus. So this is a stomatal apparatus. Alright, this is an stomatal apparatus. So this is stoma, which is the pore. These are the guard cells. Guard cells consist of chloroplast, and these are the subsidiary cells. Right? This is the structure of this figure, indicate the structure of stomata. Indicate the structure of stomata. Alright. So, and one more thing, that the inner walls of the guard cells, always remember, inner walls of the guard cells surrounding the stoma are thick. Inner walls of the guard cells are thick, and the outer walls of guard cells, GC means guard cells, are thin. Alright. Now you must know that what are guard cells. Alright, you must know what are guard cells. Now let's talk about the guard cells. Now as the name is indicating, guard cells, okay, guard cells are controlling opening and closing of stomata, are controlling opening and closing of stomata, hence called as guard cells. When guard cells are turgid, stomata open, and when guard cells are flaccid, means when they lose water, what is happening? Stomata close. Alright. So they are controlling opening and closing of stomata. Remember one note, that generally stomata open during day and close at night. Generally stomata open during day and close at night. Exception in succulent xerophytes, means plants which are found in deserts, stomata close during day and open at night to reduce transpiration. Alright, so remember this thing. And one more thing which is asked in exams, that is, guard cells are bean shaped or kidney shaped in dicots, like this, right? But guard cells are dumbbell shaped in monocots, like this. Alright, so these are dumbbell shaped. So this is the stoma and these are the guard cells. Here this is the stoma and these are the guard cells. Alright, and one more thing, guard cells are living cells. They have or they bear chloroplast. Their inner walls are thick, outer walls are thin. Like this, if this is the guard cell, then always remember that inner wall will be thick, which is surrounding the stomatal pore, and the outer wall will be thin. This one, outer wall will be thin. Are you getting? So this is all about the guard cells. Now, subsidiary cells, the stomatal apparatus, the Stomatal apparatus also consists of subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. They are specialized. They are specialized epidermal cells surrounding guard cells, surrounding the guard cells. And also remember one thing, that in dicot leaves, in the leaves of the dicot plants, means in dicot leaves, lower epidermis have always more stomata than upper epidermis. In dicot leaves, lower epidermis have always more stomata than upper epidermis, but in monocot leaves, both lower and upper epidermis have equal number of stomata. Why? Because monocot leaves are called as beta isobilateral leaves, and dicot leaves are called as dorsiventral leaves. So here both the epidermis are different. So lower epidermis have always more stomata than the upper epidermis, but in monocot leaves both lower and upper epidermis have equal number of stomata. Okay? And the ultimate role of the stomata is gaseous exchange and transpiration. You know very well, exchange of CO2 and the O2 in the plants occur with the help of the stomatas, and also the stomatas are meant for the transpiration, that is loss of water in the form of water vapor. Loss of water in the form of water vapor. Alright. Now at the last, let's talk about the epidermal appendages. Epidermal appendages. Now in epidermal appendages, we will be first talking about the hairs. We will be talking about the hairs, and the second one we will be talking about the trichomes. Alright. Now first one, the hairs. I will be talking about root hairs. Right? Root hairs. They are found on root epiblema. They are found on root epiblema. They are unicellular function, means epidermal appendages means we are talking about the epidermal hairs. And in epidermal hairs, I have taken an example of root hairs. Root hairs are found on root epiblema. They are unicellular and they are meant for water and mineral absorption. Meant for water and mineral absorption. And if I talk about the trichomes, so they are found on stem. They are found on stem. They are generally multicellular. Generally multicellular. Though there are some trichomes which may be unicellular also, but they are generally multicellular. They are generally multicellular, and they may be branched or unbranched. They may be branched or unbranched. They may be branched or unbranched, and What is their function? What is their function? They reduce water loss by transpiration. They reduce water loss. They reduce water loss. They reduce water loss by transpiration. Alright, and also they secrete certain substances which kill insects. Means they are secretory in nature. Secretory in nature. This point suggests that they are secretory in nature. They are secretory in nature. So they secrete certain substances which kill the insects, and after killing the insect they take nutrients from them. They take the nutrients from them. So this is the role of trichomes. So trichomes are the epidermal appendages found on stem, and the root hairs are the epidermal appendages found on the roots. They are generally unicellular and meant for water and mineral absorption. They are multicellular. Branched or unbranched, they reduce water loss by transpiration, and they secrete certain substances which kill the insects, and after killing the insect they take nutrients from them. So we can say it as that some trichomes are secretory in nature. Some trichomes are secretory in nature. Alright. Now at the last we have talked all the things about the epidermal tissue system. So at the last, what are the functions? What are the functions of this epidermal tissue system? So functions of epidermal tissue system in plants, right? Number one, protection. Of course, epidermis is the outermost layer, so it will provide protection. It is outermost layer of primary plant body, so provide protection. Number two, secretion. Here you have seen trichomes found on epidermis of stem secrete substances which kill insects. Now third one, epidermal tissue system is also meant for gaseous exchange. You know very well that stomatas found on epidermis are meant for this gaseous exchange. Also meant for the transpiration. Also meant for transpiration. We know very well that the stomatas are meant for the transpiration. So these are some important functions of the epidermal tissue system. So students, in today's video we have discussed the entire epidermal tissue system. We have discussed the epidermis and the parts associated with the epidermis such as the stomatas, cuticle, alright, and we have also discussed the epidermal appendages or the epidermal outgrowths such as the root hairs and the trichomes, alright. And remember some key points what we have discussed in this topic, say for the Muliform cells, okay, cystolith, lithocyte, multi-layered epidermis, alright. All these are very important and the questions have been asked from this particular topic, alright. So today we have discussed the epidermal tissue system. In the next upcoming video I will be discussing about the ground tissue system, which is found in the most abundant quantity in the plants. So just wait for the video and we'll be uploading soon that video. So thanks a lot for watching me.